Recently, I've been doing videos where I talk about big-time NFL draft prospects who either should have stayed or should have gone. We're going to continue that series today, as we're going to talk about a big-time Penn State offensive lineman who was projected by some sources to be a top 10 pick, the number 1 left tackle, and a future franchise offensive lineman. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he's deciding to come back for another year at Penn State, and in my eyes, this is a mistake. In today's video, we're going to go through who this guy is, talk about his Penn State career so far, his draft stock, and why I think this is a mistake. But before we get into it, we're so close to 100k, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to support today's video, turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover in my next one. Now, let's get started. So you're probably wondering who the subject of today's video is, and it is none other than Penn State offensive lineman Olu Fashanu. Growing up, Olu was a huge basketball fan, and this was probably the sport he was going to be a star in. He said, quote, "Growing up, I always played basketball. I played basically my entire life. I first started playing rec basketball around 1st grade and up until around 4th grade. He then played travel basketball throughout middle school as well and really started to grow and grow and grow. He decided to try out for the football team his freshman year and ended up not only making the team, but loving it more than basketball. Olu was always a class act, as after the football season his freshman year, he began to work at the local homeless shelter, and he did that for the next 4 seasons. He ended up deciding to quit basketball to play football full-time because he knew he had more long-term potential there. He ended up going to Gonzaga High School, and he played on the offensive line for future Heisman-winning quarterback Caleb Williams. That would definitely help him get some attention on the recruiting trail, but at nearly 6'7", he was already getting enough attention as is. He began to blow up and visited schools such as Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, the 3 blue bloods in the Big Ten, and it would come down to Penn State and Michigan for his talents in the end. He would receive his Penn State offer in 2018, and both the Wolverines and Nittany Lions desperately wanted him because the offensive line is very tough to recruit because there are only so many giants. Olu was one of them. After doing an unofficial visit one week into State College, he decided to pick his future school and go to Penn State. He said, quote, "It was the coaching staff, the coaches I hung out with, and the entire atmosphere. Every time I visited, they treated me like family really well and with the utmost respect. I felt comfortable, they felt comfortable. I built a lot of relationships with the coaching staff since they offered me back in November, and it was the same way with recruits, and it was just the perfect fit. Also, Washington, D.C. isn't that horribly far from Happy Valley either, so it was somewhat close to home. He ended up canceling trips to Michigan and Florida and was relieved to get the recruiting process over. Fun fact, he became the 4th offensive lineman from the DC area to be a part of Penn State's 2020 class, but Fashanu was probably the least talked about. For a while, he was a 4-star player, but his ranking took a dip by the end of it, and he dropped a star. According to 24/7 Sports, Fashanu was a high 3-star recruit, the number 32 offensive tackle, and the 405th best player in the class of 2020. So, what did the scouts have to say? One said, quote, "You have to start with his frame. He's a massive, massive kid at 6'7", 320 pounds. If you drop an offensive tackle, Fashanu is pretty much close to what you want physically. For me though, it goes beyond the measurables. I think what I like about Fashanu the most is the fact that he has a high floor. You can watch his film, and while there's certainly things to improve on, there's just a whole lot to like. He's a punishing run blocker, he's comfortable in pass protection, moves his feet well, and shows really good balance. Olu was a project player with unlimited potential, but how'd he end up doing in Happy Valley? Like you probably know, most linemen don't play until year 2 or year 3 on campus, so he decided to redshirt in 2020. He was named the coaching staff's developmental squad offensive player of the week though. That was his best moment. In 2021, he played a little bit against Ball State and Villanova, but would make his first career start at left tackle against Arkansas. This was because of Rasheed Walker. He ended up declaring for the 2022 NFL draft, and he was taken in the 7th round, so Olu got a chance to show what he was made of. Going into 2022, he went from a random 19-year-old kid that most Penn State fans barely knew anything about to a big-time NFL draft prospect in just a few weeks. Olu had this to say about his improvement over the years. Quote, "I think I've made good improvement since I've been here on campus, obviously. Me personally, it's harder to come in as an offensive lineman and get it on the field than it is honestly for any other position, because there's that much of a physical aspect to it." Fashanu became one of the best left tackles in all of college football, graded really high according to PFF, and ended up being ranked as a number 1 tackle. According to that site, he was looking at a big payday. He was projected to go number 10 overall, which would have likely gotten him a $21 million deal. Instead, he decided to turn that down. It was definitely worth the hype, as draft experts were obsessed with his size, strength, agility, and rapid improvement, and he was also one of PFF's highest ranked offensive linemen through the season. What's even crazier is he did not allow a single sack through his first 299 pass blocking attempt. So why is he coming back? Well, he answered. He said, although playing in the NFL is a goal of mine, there is still more that I want to achieve personally and collectively as a program. That is definitely a fair statement, and if that is ultimately what he wants to do, then that's awesome. But I know if I were in his shoes, I feel like it would be time to go. There are not many players that have the opportunity to become a top 10 pick and make that kind of money, and what happens if he gets hurt next year? Also, what happens if he underperforms expectations or just isn't any good? In the case that he is a one-year wonder, why not go to the draft, get to the NFL, and get your money? That's at least my mindset on it all. But if he wants to come back and help Penn State have a special season, then I'm all for that as well. He'll get a chance to block for Drew Allar, and he'll have two of the top sophomore running backs in the country, so this Penn State offense could be a lot of fun to watch next year, and they could be in for a special season, but I just really hope this turns out well for Olu. He seems like a stand-up guy, and I'll definitely be rooting for him, but I wonder if this will end up being a mistake. But what do you guys think? If you're a Penn State fan, what do you think of this current situation? What are your expectations for next year's team? And what draft prospect should I cover in my next video? Be sure to let me know down below. Leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.